Why does the letter Q always have a U after it? Like, why is it question, quiz, and Q instead of question, quiz, and Q? There are exceptions to this rule, but there's so few of them that they have an entire Wikipedia page. In fairness, if you read that Wikipedia page, you'll find there's a bit more than 4,000 words where that is the case. But in the grand scheme of English, 4,000 is really not that many words. And the vast majority of those words are loan words from languages where the letter Q makes a different sound than it usually does in English. So in English, it's true, Q and U are usually in cahoots, but woo. And we can actually trace the letter Q all the way back to this lovely looking little letter from the Phoenician alphabet. In Phoenician, this letter likely made a qa sound, a voiceless uvular stop. Now the Phoenician script ended up spreading to a bunch of different languages that used it in a bunch of different ways. In the Arabic script, for example, that Phoenician letter became qaf, and wouldn't you know it, a lot of varieties of Arabic still use it to represent a qa sound today. When that letter got to ancient Greek though, well, ancient Greek didn't have a qa sound. But then we're just gonna let that letter go to waste. I mean, look at it. As such, it came to represent a qua, or a qua sound. When that letter got to the Etruscans, they were like, all right, let's get the ambiguity out of the way. We already have C, we already have K, so how about we're gonna put Q with our version of a V, and that's gonna be the qua sound. Now then the Romans saw the Etruscans doing that, and they were like, because see, to be honest with you, the Romans had way more letters than they knew what to do with. You see, the Latin alphabet had a C, a K, and a Q, but they used them in like the least efficient way possible. The language had a K and a G sound, but they didn't bother to like differentiate them. No. They were like, we're gonna use a K before a A sound, a Q before a rounded vowel, and then a C everywhere else, but all three of those letters are gonna represent K and G at the same time. Absolute waste of three perfectly good letters in my humble linguistic opinion, but thankfully, they eventually got their heads on right and realized that is way too many letters. They eventually decided that the letter Q would only represent a K sound when there was a W sound right after it. Very similar to what ancient Greek had going on. And that is why today in English, Q and U are almost always right next to each other, almost always making a qua sound. And there you have it. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know if there's anything else you want me to talk about, and have a quintessentially, quantifiably, quotably, quizzical day. Yeah!